Okay, awesome, nice. Now, again, it makes sense to have performance support, information, communication.
We're not screaming.
It makes sense, but I think we just rise with this.
And go.
Hi, I'm Justin Hibbard here at the very first Training, Learning, and Development Conference in beautiful San Diego, California at the Hyatt Regency Mission Bay Hotel. We're joined by Ajay Pangarkar. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Perfect, Justin. Perfect.
Great. I didn't butcher that name, so that's a good start.
You wouldn't be the first to butcher it anyway, so.
Right. So, Ajay, tell me a little bit about what you do and what you're here for.
I consider myself the business conscience of L&D. So my specialty is around performance management, building a business case for training within the organization. So I speak the language of the business leaders. So what I try to do is I try to help, a little bit of tough love, but I try to help T&D people, L&D people, to be able to communicate effectively with their business leadership and understand that component of how their solution initiatives fit into the organization's requirements and tie into the business objectives. That's why I'm here for the conference. I'm doing a session on building a business case for training.
Oh, okay. And what are some of the challenges that you face when you are building a case for business training?
Well, I think one thing is business literacy. It's actually quite simple because, and I don't want to make light of it for all my colleagues in L&D, but I think it's just basic business literacy.
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of L&D people, they don't come from the world of business. They have great backgrounds, great experiences, great educational knowledge for their perspective. And I never intend to say to them that when you're in my session, I'm going to make you an expert. I'm just making you business literate. And I think we don't see enough of that in the new instructional design programs that are in schools, where we have an element of understanding what are the business expectations from training. But let's not forget that the training department is a business unit within a business. And what happens, T&D people forget that. And so we have to make sure that we are, and that's one of the biggest challenges, getting people to understand how to speak it, to interact with the individuals who are making the decisions for the organization. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges for training development people, is to get that business literacy.
What do you see are some of the new developments or what's to come in the world of business training development in the near future?
Oh, for the training and development people specifically? Okay, so one of the things that we've liked to throw around in recent years is the term return on investment. And one thing about the term return on investment when you speak to business leader means something very different from the way it's been explained to L&D and what we believe it is in the L&D space. Now, I'm not going to get down the rabbit hole of what ROI is, and I hope people, you'll ping me or, and we can have a discussion.
Return on investment.
Return on investment, exactly.
Right.
But the way business leaders see it, now here's the trend that's happening, is that training typically is a cost, or typically an expense, and that's not a bad thing. But the training activity itself is an expense. But there's another element that's come up about in the last 10 years is all the technology that we use. So things like now, the typical LMS, e-learning equipment, but now virtual reality and augmented reality and all these wonderful terms we like throwing around. Well, now these become what a business leader would consider a capital investment. Mm-hmm. Now, some people say, well, those are fancy terms, Ajay, but at the end of the day, the term capital investment means something very specific to a business leader. So when you are about to pitch, and I'll leave this as a bit of a teaser, when you're about to pitch, let's buy the next augmented reality software or the next LMS, and they say, well, okay, it's capital investment, you have to position that investment in a way they understand how that investment is going to contribute indirectly to the profitability of the organization. I'll take a breath at that point. How's that, Justin?
Take a big breath if you want to.
And I said I wasn't going down a rabbit hole, but I think I'm going down a rabbit hole. So I get very passionate about this stuff. So, that's one of the big trends now. So again, it goes back to the point that, and the other trend is in the last few years that we are given budgets, right? The L&D department is given a budget. And like any other business unit, we're being held to account. Mm-hmm. What does accountability mean for training and development within an organization? How do you prove accountability for the budget that you receive? Because in all essence, typically internally the training department receives money from the department. So basically, that internal customer is paying us for a service or a product, and we have to deliver something that satisfies that. And think about it this way: when you go to a store and you buy something, and you're not satisfied with it, it doesn't deliver. What are you going to do?
Return it.
You're going to go back to the store and say, I don't want it anymore, or explain to me how is this benefiting me, right? And so the same thing here. Those internal clients have a right to say to T&D, you've delivered something, but it's delivered no impact to me. Why should I continue spending money with you? And so these are the challenges and the issues that T&D are facing. And I try to pull them in, kicking and screaming a little bit, because we've been a little bit too comfortable in our space. Again, I say tough love. I love my T&D peeps, by the way. But in all essence, I want them to succeed, and I want them to understand. So, hence, I started off saying to you, I'm the business conscious of T&D, and I take that responsibility with a heavy weight, a rest on my shoulders.
So essentially, you're needing to educate them. This is a legitimate business expense. It's something that is worthwhile to spend the money on, and they can truly benefit from this in their own business as well.
Absolutely. I mean, when you come to a conference like this, and here's an example: when you come to a conference like TLDC and you spend money to come to any conference, they're going to ask you, what did you bring back to the organization at the conference? And your business leader is going to ask you that question, right? When you have to account and you have to be held to answer to those higher powers, in this case, we're not talking about, I'm not religious myself, but we're not talking about God, we're talking about your CEO, CFO.
Justifying the expense.
What have you done for me lately is the question, to quote Janet Jackson.
We'll have you sing that before we...
Well, Enzo Silva challenged me at the Tech Jam to sing What Have You Done For Me Lately to T&D, and I said, no, that's not happening, because we'll scare people from coming back to this conference. So.
I think you have a beautiful voice.
Well, you're probably the first and the only and will ever be, so thank you for the compliment. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. Thumbs up from Rick back there. Fantastic. Buddies I've known for a long time, so fantastic. And this is what's great about the conference. Can I go on a tangent a bit?
Go for it.
This is a fantastic conference. I want to thank Brent and Luis and everybody else involved, because it's the first time that people are coming together to not just network, but to learn from each other.
Right.
And we've, speakers have parked their egos at the door. We're just coming in and we want to make things better. So, unlike any other conference I've been to, this is the one that I think I'm enjoying the most. And Brent asked me one objective, and I said the one objective I want to do is meet everybody at this conference. So I'm putting it out there. If you don't meet me here, meet me online. Let's talk.
Great. And then you said ways in which you would like to make this industry better. What are some other ways that you think you could help others and educate others to make this business better?
Well, my true specialty, even though I'm a CPA by background in Canada, and I do understand business quite well, my specialty is in performance management. And what I would like to change the mindset here is that we get caught up in the minutia of what we call performance support. And what we often forget, there's a bigger picture in an organization. All these business leaders have put together a performance framework within the organization. So one of the things I would like to push forward is an understanding of how we connect into the organizational performance framework. Because I've written this actually in my book, The Trainer's Balance Scorecard, that we have to link into those business objectives. And like in school, if your teacher gives you the answers to the test ahead of time, and you just have to figure out the questions, well, guess what? Your business leaders have given you the answers ahead of time. In that performance framework, you have all the pain points, you all have the performance objectives, or what we call the key performance indicators, that those business leaders or business unit managers have to account for or have to meet. And guess what? You just have to figure out how you can help them meet that. So you have to find the question. So essentially, your answer's in front of you, your cheat sheet is there, and if you want to become a hero, just meet a couple of those performance KPIs and help them achieve their objectives, and you'll look like a hero in your organization, and they'll throw more money at you. And last thing, you need to make sure, a lot of T&D people say, well, they keep cutting my budget. I say reverse the question. Why shouldn't they keep cutting your budget? Because that puts the question burden on you to say, what value am I driving to the organization? So if they're cutting the budget, the question is really, then you're not driving any value.
They're not.
Because business values are not taking, it's not personal, right? It's all business.
Right.
They are looking at it where, and it's not just T&D, they're looking at all business units and saying, okay, there's no value, no value, no value, we're cutting back. But we're going to add more money to the areas that are adding value. it's a business. It's about, at the end of the day, I hate to say, in quote Gordon Gekko, it's not really about greed, but it's about profit.
Business.
So it is.
Like you said.
And so don't take it personally.
The bottom line.
But do take it personally if you're not adding value. If they're cutting your budget, hey, you need to have a little bit of self-reflection with yourself and your department.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to encourage everybody to come back next year. I know TLDC2016 is almost over now, another day or two left, and if people want to still show up, great, but come next year for sure, and let's do this thing again. Let's have a bit of fun, and I want to encourage people to contact me. I have an open door, and so please feel free to ping me on Twitter. It's @BizLearningDude, B-I-Z Learning Dude, and on Facebook and wherever else you can find me. I write for a bunch of publications, so I'm
Any
easy to find.
blogs or?
Workforce Revolution on my website. It's blog.centralknowledge.com.
Okay.
And you can also find me in Training Magazine's Last Word column,
Okay.
as well as Training Industry and trainingindustry.com, and a bunch of my books that are out there with Wiley. So my baby, the Trainer's Balance Scorecard.
So you're pretty ubiquitous, I would say.
I'm trying to be. I don't know
If someone can't find you, they're not looking very hard.
or ask Rick or ask you, and maybe
Right.
you'll find me. So
Excellent. AJ, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
It's
having
been
me.
a pleasure talking to you, and here's to a successful show.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Ajay Pangarkar here in San Diego at the Hyatt Regency Mission Bay, and we'll talk to you guys later. Have a great afternoon.